Welcome to Gardening with Calyx. I am Thelma.
And this is our fourth video in our series showing how we grow hydrangea in our tropical climate.
We've covered several aspects, but the one area that I think is quite critical is the performance of the plants during the dormancy period, because in fact we don't have the typical dormancy period in the warmer climates. So therefore it would be interesting to see how the plants behaved and how best to treat them during that period. So please keep watching. Welcome back and thanks for staying. Dormancy in hydrangeas. Hydrangeas are adapted to growing in relatively cooler climates. They have a requirement for a cold period. Usually in the northern hemisphere, we're talking about any time after September. They will try to protect themselves through the winter by losing as many of the leaves as possible. Now here in the tropics, we look closely for those signs because after all, the plant is genetically programmed to go into dormancy. And what we look for anytime after September is for the spots on the leaves and the general bronzing of the leaves. And what we did in this garden, as I said, we've done several videos on hydrangea. And I just wanted to share with you the stages in what is a shorter dormancy period. It starts somewhere end of October and goes through to February under our conditions here in the Caribbean. So the first sign that we will see is like a bronzing of the leaves, and I'm going to be showing that to you very shortly as we track the changes from October through to April. So let me start with the first shot, which is what the plants look like at the end of October.
These two plants are looking quite vibrant, aren't they? No signs of aging, neither on the leaves nor on the flowers.
One would expect that they would be going into dormancy, but they're at their best at this point in time.
But by January, things had definitely changed. They have lost all of their mature leaves, with a few exceptions. You will also notice quite a lot of buds. And these buds have been really sitting patiently. A few have started opening up. And because of this, I decided to prune early, now in January, rather than waiting until March. Take a look at the plants in the beds. This is what they look like in February. You could see that they held on to their older leaves to a greater extent than those in pots. These plants are still in the dormancy phase, and during the dormancy phase, we allow the plants to rest. You do not fertilize and water as sparingly as possible. By March, the hydrangea in beds had also lost most of their old leaves. Those that hung on over the cooler months were no longer functional. But as you can see, the buds are very prominent. Looks like they're about to start the New Year's growth. It's also time to prune old leaves and stems. I'm training the plant for a more compact shape, so I'll trim long stems even if there are healthy buds on them. Don't forget to sanitize your pruner prior to starting and at regular intervals during the pruning activity. I use 3% isopropyl alcohol, but there are lots of other suitable products on the market for sanitizing your tools. While you're watching me work, now is a good time for me to summarize the basic rules of pruning. Remove old or spotted or dried leaves. Trim away any dried stem sections, as well as trim the longer stems that are likely to contribute to a lopsided growth of your plant. And remember to make the cut as close as possible to a node. Overall aim really is to achieve balanced growth in all directions. The plants in pots came out of dormancy sooner than those in the beds, and they were pruned and fertilized in February. Here they are in April. They've grown quite a lot in the last 2 months, but you can tell from the light green color of the foliage that they're running out of nitrogen and perhaps a few other nutrients, so it's time to fertilize them now. Here is the fertilizer program that we've been following, but nothing is cut in stone. You can use whatever is available to you. The aim is to have the plants looking nice, green, healthy, and producing lots of flowers. You may use another balanced NPK formulation such as 10-10-10. Just follow the recommendations on the product label. At the end of May, the first set of blooms are starting to show a little age. As blooms fade, it's best to trim them off. This will allow the plant to divert more energy into developing the younger shoots and producing more blooms. Both sets of plants, those in the beds and those in the pots, are looking good. They responded well to pruning and now have a much more compact shape. The leaves are healthy, a little yellow in some cases, but there's no evidence of the telltale nutrient deficiency, which is the yellowing between the veins, and there are no leaf spots or leaf tip burns. So, all in all, excellent, says I also thought you'd like to see how the hydrangeas have grown from 2023, when they really were just beginning. They were rather small then. We had to pay close attention to the nutritional needs, and they responded accordingly, so much so that a year later, I think they're looking rather well. And I think it augurs well for our ambition to grow hydrangeas of equivalent quality to those that I see in the northern climes. What do you think?
We've come to the end of this video, and we hope that you have a greater insight into what to expect from your plants as you go into the cooler months, when the plants will go into their period of natural dormancy. It's not a complete dormancy, but there are changes in the growth of the plants and in their requirements during the cooler months of the year. Now, what is beautiful is that our hydrangeas wake up very early in spring. So in fact, we have a longer blooming period. Now, the difficulties we have here primarily would be the nutritional issues, and of course making sure we put the hydrangeas in an area where they get sufficient sunlight, but not too harsh a sunlight. So if you like the contents, please give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and if you have not subscribed as yet, we are asking you to do so, mainly because you will get the alerts when we upload a new video. So until the next one, I am Thelma saying thanks for watching, you take care, and bye-bye.